Hey guys. All right, with this lecture, we're going to be talking about energy in cells. So, we're going to talk about pretty much energy and enzymes for this one. Now, in my classes, we talked about thermodynamics, and the first law of thermodynamics is energy cannot be created or destroyed. So, we talked about how dams use their energy and how they're transferring their energy from the water moving across turbines to changing it into more of a mechanical energy, electrical energy. Now, here are a few different types of energy that we need to know. The ones I want you guys to know: thermal, chemical, electromagnetic, potential, kinetic. So, thermal energy is heat energy, which we release a lot of heat energy when we're eating because we're just digesting food and a lot of energy gets lost as heat. Also, chemical energy, we're using the chemical energy, so whatever we eat is chemical energy. And we want to use the chemical energy we're taking into our bodies, the food, and forming it into a different type of chemical energy, which we'll talk about. Electromagnetic energy is light energy. It's measured in photons. And plants use the electromagnetic energy to get their energy for their food, to make their food. Now, kinetic and potential energy, there's always potential energy. I'm just sitting here. I have the potential to do things like, move this pen. This pen has potential energy now. It has kinetic energy because it's moving. So, yeah, that kind of thing. All right, so those are different types of energy you should know. And we're going to be talking about how energy is transferred through molecules, through cells, and things like that. Now, our next learning target, we need to know if it'll, I got to change it back to the thing. Here we go. Next learning target is explain how cells use glucose and ATP to transfer energy. Now, first, let's learn a little bit more about ATP before we start talking about glucose. Now, we get most of the energy in our bodies from glucose. Well, first, we got to change it into ATP. So ATP, I want you to notice there are 3 phosphates here, and it is called adenosine triphosphate. Now, as a phosphate is released here, we release energy. And then it becomes ADP. So there's 2 phosphates here, right? It released 1, so now we only have 2. It's adenosine diphosphate. Now we'll add the phosphate group back onto it here and add some energy into that bond, and it becomes ATP again. This is called the ATP cycle. Now let's add a few vocab words to this. So when you add energy into a reaction, that is called endergonic. Adding energy in, energy goes in, it's endergonic. Now we're actually building a bigger molecule out of 2 smaller ones. So you're taking these 2 molecules right here, and you're building a bigger one here. Here's ATP. We're building that bigger molecule. That is called an anabolic reaction. Anabolic. Building bigger molecules out of smaller ones. Now let's do this. We're taking this bigger molecule and breaking it down into a smaller one. That is called catabolic. Catabolic. And when we release energy from a reaction, that is called exergonic. I like to say energy is exiting the cell. It's exergonic. All right, so energy is stored in this bond right here. That's where it's stored. And when you break off that phosphate group right here, it releases the energy. You add the phosphate group back on, you add energy. It's an anabolic process. Endergonic, energy goes in. Exergonic, energy leaves. Catabolic, it's breaking down. Okay, those are those 4. Now, when we're talking about plants and animals, there are different types of organisms that do different things. So an autotroph, they make their own energy. So plants, algae, those types of things make their own energy to use in their mitochondria. Now, heterotrophs have to consume their energy. Heterotrophs consume their energy. So we're heterotrophs, any animal, lots of bacteria, those types of things, they're all heterotrophs because they have to consume the energy to get the energy they need to use. All right, those are a bunch of vocab words that we've covered. All right. Now, let's see. What's catabolic? Draw, label, ATP cycle. Okay, let's move on to enzymes. All those other slides are to help you practice. Now, let's look at this. Now, here's the question. Are enzymes used up in chemical reactions? Well, let's look at this. So here's the enzyme. You have substrates. Substrates are reactants that bind with an enzyme. That's what a substrate is. It's going to bind with this active site. The active site is where the substrates bind to on an enzyme. That's the active site. Here's the enzyme. Now, enzymes, what they are, they're proteins that help speed up chemical reactions. That's what they do. So, substrate binds to the active site of the enzyme. Here's the enzyme substrate complex. It produces this product. Right? Products are what's formed from a chemical reaction. Whatever's formed or produced from a chemical reaction, that is a product. Reactant is whatever goes into the reaction. All right, now, here's the enzyme. It's still there. So are enzymes used up in chemical reactions? The answer is no. Of course not. Look at them. It's still there. You don't have to worry about it. So enzymes can be reused constantly. If you have more enzymes in a solution or in your stomach, you're going to digest the material faster, whatever you're eating. So that's pretty much energy in enzymes. Our main energy molecule is ATP. Our main source of energy on Earth, I'm not talking in the ocean, I'm talking on Earth, mostly in the ocean too, but on Earth is the sun, because plants, or autotrophs, are actually going to use that energy to create the food. The animals will eat the food, and so on and so forth. So that's energy in enzymes.